if indeed President Trump's trade policy is a material adverse event, could that change in November, right? Which brings me to our next topic, which is the latest polling on Joe Biden and also some new details on some tax policy that has to do with Made in America. So, Rick, we've got some new polling data out on swing states in particular, and that Biden leads Trump in those swing states. But, the caveat with all of this stuff is that we still got a couple months to go and things do tend to shift around.
I'll add one more caveat, which is swing state polling is not as reliable as national polling, which is why some of the polls were wrong in 2016, because they just were not that accurate at the swing state level. So let's first of all just tell everybody what the swing states are for those who aren't following it all that closely. Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona are expected to be the closest states. And you can probably generalize by saying whoever can win 4 of those will probably win the presidential election. A lot of people following the race have expected the swing states to tighten up, and that is what seems to be happening. Biden still has a lead in most of the states, but it's single digits. There was another poll recently showing Biden and Trump basically tied in Florida, so that could be trending in Trump's direction. So I think the bottom line here is this election is in no way predetermined, and it's going to be close.
And speaking of close, some other details we got today are on some proposals by Joe Biden to keep manufacturing, to reward investments in U.S.-based manufacturing. Now, this is something that has been a popular topic for President Trump as well. On a policy basis, though, is what Biden is proposing significantly different from what Trump has done on that front?
I think it is. So Trump basically said, I'm going to bring manufacturing jobs that went overseas. I'm going to bring them back home, and we're going to make more stuff in America. And, we were adding manufacturing jobs in the U.S. economy before the coronavirus pandemic. Now we're in a hole on manufacturing jobs. But Biden is now trying to make the case that Trump did not do anything to help manufacturing. In fact, his corporate tax cuts that went into effect in 2018 actually created an incentive for companies to keep production offshore or even to move it offshore. I cannot validate that claim. I'm not sure how they get to that point, but that's what Biden is saying. So Biden is saying what I'm going to do is I'm going to penalize companies that move production offshore or import stuff from overseas back into the United States by taxing them more than regular companies. And I'm also going to create an incentive, a tax incentive, a tax break for companies that reopen closed factories here in the United States or do other things to enlarge their manufacturing footprint here in the United States. So we just talked about the swing states that are going to determine the election. This is clearly aimed at Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin and other Midwestern states where Biden wants to convince voters he's going to do more for their livelihoods than Trump has done during the last 4 years.